Hey guys, my name is Shanna. Today I'm going to talk about what I've learned about the ideal water temperature for your hydroponic garden, and also I'm going to tell you about an experiment that I'm going to be doing in my garden with a water chiller, and I'll tell you why I'm doing it, and also in about a month I'll do a part 2 of this video to update you on what the results of my experiment were. The challenge I've been having with my garden is that about every 2 weeks I've been doing a quick clean and changing out the water completely in the garden. I've got another video showing how to do that if you'd like to check that out. Once I take out all the old water, I'm cleaning, wiping and cleaning everything out, and then I'm adding new water, nutrients, and balancing the pH. And then from that time, the pH stays really nice and stable for about 10 days. And after the 10 days, it's going absolutely bananas. So what I mean by that is I'll go to bed at night, the pH will be right where I want it, around 6.2. And I'll wake up in the morning and the pH will be over 7. And then multiple times the next day, I'll be having to add pH down to bring the pH back to where I would like it to be. And it keeps going up, and every day I'm adding more and more pH down to keep it at that range. Whereas before, the first 10 days, it stayed nice and stable without me adding any pH down. You may be wondering why I'm so concerned about keeping my pH right around the 6.2, 6.3 mark. And the reason is that certain nutrients cannot be uptaken by plants at certain pH ranges. If you look at this chart here, you'll see that at the lower pH range of the spectrum, these nutrients cannot be absorbed, whereas at the higher end of the pH range, these nutrients cannot be uptaken. So the sweet spot seems to be somewhere right around where this dashed line is at 6.2, 6.3. It means that all of the nutrients are available for the plants at this pH. I did some research to figure out what was making my pH go so bonkers after 10 days. What I learned was that as algae gets to a higher level in your water, it's going to increase your pH and make it really hard to manage. We are already doing some things to decrease the amount of algae growth in our garden, such as using the hole covers on the empty holes and also making sure we seal up any gaps as much as possible. But after that point, what I also learned is that algae grows faster in warmer water. Secondly, warmer water has less dissolved oxygen for your plants. So it's kind of a double whammy of not goodness for your plants to have more algae, which causes an unstable pH, and then also to have less oxygen. In my mind, the solution would be potentially to lower the water temperature and slow the algae growth, and then your plants, as a bonus, get more oxygen. So I have purchased a water chiller that I'm going to install today, and I'm going to see if that makes a difference in how long my garden can go in between needing water changes. How long will the water pH stay stable for with a lower temperature? Yesterday, the water temperature in my garden reached 28 degrees Celsius, which is 82 degrees Fahrenheit, even though the air temperature in my house is much cooler than that. I suspect that the lights shining for 16 hours or more a day on my plants is generating some extra heat, and it's heating up the water in the garden more than you would expect. So the question is, if I'm going to use a chiller to cool the water in the garden, what is the right temperature? I know from experience, I had this problem when I went on vacation. If I cool the garden too much, if the water and the air temperature is too cool, the plants will be stunted or not grow at all. And of course, I have the opposite problem. If the water is too warm, I'm going to have extra algae growth, decreased oxygen for my plants, and I'm going to have to change the water more often. So where's the sweet spot? I did some research to find out what temperature is ideal for hydroponic vegetable growing, and unfortunately, I don't feel that my research was very successful. I found a lot of websites that gave different temperature ranges, but I was not able to find where those numbers came from or any primary sources of information. So a bunch of websites said temperatures from 60 to 75 Fahrenheit, which is 16 to 24 Celsius. And another group of websites said 65 Fahrenheit to 80 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about 18 to 27 degrees Celsius. So again, I couldn't find any primary information, and I also got conflicting information about which crops like which temperatures. Pretty much everyone agreed that lettuces like lower temperatures, but I had some websites saying that cucumbers and tomatoes preferred higher temperatures, and some that said cucumbers and tomatoes prefer lower temperatures. So I guess I just have to make my best guess and go forward with my experiment. Now I need to decide, based on what I found, what temperature am I going to cool my water to for my water chiller experiment. I've noticed that within these different temperature ranges that I found, most of them agree and overlap in the range of 65 to 75 Fahrenheit, which is 18 to 24 degrees Celsius. So, considering the fact that I am using power and paying money to cool the water, I figure I might as well start near the top of the range so that I'm using less power and spending less money to cool, and I'll see how effective that is before making any adjustments. I've decided that I'm going to set my water chiller at somewhere between 22.5 or 23 degrees Celsius, depending on, I don't even know if it does half degrees. And then I'm going to let it run for 2 cycles. So ideally there'll be 2-week cycles, and I will report back to you in 4 weeks about how this experiment worked and if decreasing the water temperature improved my pH stability and how long my garden water was able to last. If you learned something in this video or found it interesting, please give it a like. If you'd like to see part 2 of this video, my experiment results when I publish them, or if you'd like to see any of my other videos, please consider subscribing to my channel.